When you start playing Arknights, the game gives you a lot of operators through the beginner banner pools as well as clearing stages and recruitments. One of your primary questions is probably which of those operators to use and how. Generally, first you will want to pick 12 operators to work on and have 2 operators from Guard, Defender, Medic, Sniper and Vanguard classes, as well as a caster and 1 operator of choice, Support and Specialist classes being particularly worth considering. Here you have an example of a team built based on that pattern. From there it's also good to have 4 more operators raised that can tackle more niche scenarios. Although it is possible to create one team that can clear the entire game, you will have a much easier time if you have some additional options at your disposal. While this works well enough for the beginning, there are several operators whose skills are very different from what you would normally associate with their respective classes. That's where class branches come into play. Good example of that is the 6-star operator Eunectes in the Duelist branch, who despite being a defender can only block 1 enemy outside of her 3rd skill. Then there is Calcid, who is a medic both in her class and branch, but healing is very much her side job. This is why, aside from classes and branches, there are also several roles to consider when choosing the operators. DP generation, consistent and burst damage output, defense, consistent and burst healing, crowd control, as well as buffing and debuffing. DP is the currency used to deploy operators in a stage, and the operators in Vanguard class can generate it to speed up or in case of stages with no natural DP generation, allow for the deployment of more operators. You have Vanguards focused primarily on DP generation such as standard bearers, those that trade some DP generation speed for more balanced combat prowess like Pioneers, or those whose DP generation is tied to fighting while offering a strong damage output such as Chargers and Agents. Consistent damage output is usually achieved by using guards, snipers and casters, with some exceptions like aforementioned Eunectes. This also applies to burst damage output. Defense is about being able to block and hold enemies. It might sound straightforward when you have a class called Defender, but while its operators are indeed the primary option, there are also operators in Guard class like Centurion branch that can do a great job at holding and sustaining multiple enemies. Here we also have lane holding, which is a combination of defense and good damage output. The idea is that the operators in question can both hold and kill enemies with little to no extra help from other operators. The aforementioned Centurions, as well as Reapers and Juggernaut Defenders, are some of the examples of operators and branches that are well suited for the role. Consistent healing is easiest achieved by deploying medics from any branch, but it is also possible by using defenders from the Guardian branch that possess healing skills. Additionally, there are operators in other classes like Angelina or Sora that offer passive healing. What's interesting about them is that they can heal operators that typically cannot be healed by most medics and healing defenders, although at a significantly lower speed. Crowd control refers to traits, talents, skills or attacks that let you manipulate one or multiple enemies, be it with slowing, stunning, pushing, pulling and so on. This is primarily the domain of supporters as well as specialists, but you also have vanguards like Elysium or Texas with their secondary skills, as well as defender Saria with her skill 3, to name a few additional examples. Lastly, we have buffing and debuffing, which affects the statistics of both the operators and the enemies depending on the talents or skills used. While supporters offer some of the strongest buffing and debuffing, every class has such capabilities. So as you can see, many operators can fill more than one of those roles, like the aforementioned Guardian Defenders or Texas that offers both DP generation and crowd control with her 2nd skill. Having all of those roles fulfilled should let you get through the game without any major setbacks. Once you pick the operators, you will want to level them evenly up till Elite 1 level 40, and once you get there you can look into getting your first Elite 2. It is recommended to start off by getting a 4-star operator to Elite 2, but if you happen to have materials to promote it desired 5 or 6-star, you can by all means do that instead. Ideally, it should be a damage dealing oriented operator, as those will help you more than, say, a medic. Also, make sure to get the skill levels of the operators to level 7 and do it before you E2 any of them. For Elite 2, minimum recommended level is 20 and 40 is the preferred target for free-to-play players. Of course, you can go higher once you play long enough. In fact, some operators require level 60 for their modules or operator records. Speaking of the modules, while they are more of a late game mechanic and are completely optional, the tier 1 modules give a significant boost to the operator statistics for their cost, so they are worth looking into. Once you have about 16 operators at E2 level 40 that can cover all of your bases, you can safely push for higher levels. Just be mindful that the higher you go, the less you will get for your investment. While few operators scale exceptionally well, it will be diminishing returns for everyone. It boils down to whether you prefer to have fewer but stronger operators, or more but with lower levels. When it comes to masteries, the story is a bit more complex. Generally, it is good to get a couple of E2 operators before you get into mastering. However, if the E2 operator in question is a 4-star, you can give him or her first mastery right away. If we talk about higher rarity operators, I recommend getting 4 E2s before you start mastering them. Generally, operators in most classes benefit a lot from masteries, but there are some operators like medics that are not a priority for mastering. Also, vanguards and operators with skills that hold charges tend to benefit quite a bit from the first mastery. Now, while I did mention some specific operators in this video, I purposely went into as little detail as possible. With well over 250 operators available on the global servers, there are plenty of team compositions that can get you through all the content in a unique way, and that number will keep getting higher. Also, you can comfortably clear the game with just 4-star operators, so there is no pressure to raise higher rarity ones, unless you want to do really high-end optional content or for convenience. Moreover, high rarity operators don't always replace the lower rarity ones. In fact, you can raise 2 4-stars and still have some materials left compared to raising a single 6-star to a similar level. Power creep in Arknights is very minimal, as the overall utility of an operator is more important than the rarity or raw statistics. However, not all operators are suitable to focus on early on. For example, raising an executor specialist first can slow you down, as those excel at specific niches. I would recommend starting off with a more conventional team, like the one presented at the beginning of the video, and once you build a solid foundation of a team, you can move on to more unconventional compositions. If you want to learn about the properties of each operator, there are sites like Aship, GamePress or PRTS that show you the statistics of the operators. I link them in the description below. Arknights is a skill-based game, so asking a lot of questions about the mechanics is very much encouraged. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section below or my Discord server. I make other guides that you can also check out, like the one on the screen. See you next time.